Hello, hello, Miss Claire. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Do you want to start us off?
Yes, I am Claire Blosser with Keller Williams Cornerstone team in Dallas, Oregon. And today we're going to be talking about financial planning. And I am here with Walt Schultz, an amazing lender in Salem, and you do all over.
Thank you so much. So let's start off with the very first disclaimer that
Yeah,
neither you nor I are financial planners.
we are not. No.
So anything we talk today about is going to be just our own experience. Um, and from there, then, we do work with financial planners. We can refer you to financial planners. Um, but these are just going to be from our own experiences and from experiences that we've seen and that we've read and heard and understand. So everything we talk about today is going to be in that realm. So please understand that.
And we do have resources. So if you are in need of a financial planner, Walt and I, we do have some names for you.
Yep. Perfect. All right. So I'm going to share my screen here. You should see my slides, right?
Yes, all good.
Perfect, perfect. All right. Well, let's just start off with the first question here. And I'm just going to ask you this question, Claire. Why is it important to make a financial plan? Why do you think that's important?
Well, it's always good to make a plan, right? Even though a lot of the time that plan does not go as planned, but having a goal and having steps to make it to that goal is very important.
Yeah, so true. And our plans, I would say probably a lot of times don't go as planned. So sometimes they go a little bit better than planned, and sometimes
Yeah,
they don't
but
go
that's okay. So you have that's why you have plan B.
exactly. And that's one thing I think that, I know I've learned over the last couple of years, at least in business, well, since about 2008, so more than just a couple of years, but it's okay to pivot and we can pivot
Yep.
pretty quickly with the financial plan. And so, we work towards the plan, whatever it may be, and whatever's important to us. And so, um, really, as we go through and really making a financial plan, um, one thing that we've defined at First Home IQ is that, as we read here, your financial plan is the pathway to confidence in your future.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is about having confidence in your future, even though you may have to pivot, you may have to change, but it's bringing ultimate confidence in your future um, about the plan. And so, do you have any suggestions on planning or pivots maybe that you know of that others have made or anything you'd like to share?
So I know for sure that the only thing that is constant in one's life is change. And so you have to stay informed with uh, the the industry and not really social media or news because there is a lot of fake news out there. But if you are informed, if you know a banker, a financial person, or a lender or a real estate agent, so that you know what is going on out there and you can plan accordingly. So, for example, I went to my bank the other day and they were like, "Hey, are you aware of what the new program that we're having?" And I was like, "No, what is it?" So they have a savings account that will give you back 5%. That's really high. So it's, a great opportunity to jump on. So you might have to move some money, but in the long run, it's gonna help a lot. So, you have to adjust and you have to move things in order to earn more.
So true. One thing that I want to talk about on a financial plan is creating a financial plan. We all need to do that, and it really starts with budgeting. And we're going to talk more about budgeting here in the next couple of classes. Um,
Mhm.
but part of creating that financial plan doesn't necessarily mean that you have to scrimp and save every penny. And so that
Correct.
may sound a little strange. I know that, Dave Ramsey talks about scrimping and saving every penny, and some other financial people talk about that as well. But there's a couple different pathways on this that I guess I want to share. And what I mean by that is at least scrimping and saving every penny. It's okay to buy a Starbucks from time to time. It's okay to go to dinner, out to dinner. I mean, and it's okay to do those things. Know
Hmm.
that if you're doing that today, then it's going to affect something in the future potentially. But there's people that want experiences today, and they want um, and I'm walking kind of a fine line here. So they want things today, and that's okay. So, for instance, I have a friend. He shared an experience that his wife wants experiences today.
Hmm.
He wants experiences. He wants vacation experiences. So he scrimps and saves every penny for those vacation experiences.
Yes.
She will spend every penny to go to Starbucks and do things like that because that's how she wants to have those things today, and she wants to live that
Gotcha.
today. So it's okay, to do that. Just budget accordingly. I mean, that's just it. It's at the end of the day, just budget accordingly. It's, Dave Ramsey talks about one of the, or he says, uh, the only truck that he would buy is a Ford Raptor.
Okay.
And so Ford Raptor is freaking expensive. I mean, they are, you know, if you get a Ford Raptor completely maxed out, you're like $170,000. A Ford Raptor off the lot in today's market is going to be 90, 100. And he says that the only truck he would buy is a Ford Raptor because they maintain their value.
Okay. That which makes
All
sense.
all other trucks don't hold their value.
Hmm.
So if you're following his advice, you're going to buy a Ford Raptor. You're going to pay a lot of money for that Ford Raptor. Um, but again, that's just the budgeting. You
Yeah.
budget for what the plan is. And then, like we're talking about, when life throws lemons at you, you make lemonade and you pivot.
Yep.
That's just part of life.
It sure is.
So why why is it best to start a financial plan early, do you think?
Uh, well, first you create a baseline and then that you start your education. And the more you learn and the earlier you start, compound interest, the more you're going to earn in the long run.
Exactly. So you create good money habits up front,
Yep.
but also it creates that compounding interest. And a couple things I've heard on compounding interest that I really, really like is compound interest loves time.
Yes, that is very true.
And so the longer that you can keep um, interest in an account, the more it will grow. And that money is going to grow roughly, it's going to double every 7 to 10 years.
And that goes fast. I mean, believe it or not, a 20-year-old might not think that 7 to 10 is a short time, but it really is.
Yep, it goes by super fast.
It does.
And the second thing is that on compound interest, Albert Einstein said that compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world.
Hmm.
That's been paraphrased into what he actually said, but it was very similar to that. It was very simple to that. Um, and so compound interest works unlike anything else out there. there's actually a class that I'm doing that I'm putting together, which is the Monopoly class. I'm calling it the Monopoly class. That I'm pretty excited about, where I show somebody who buys a house today at $350,000, then over their lifetime, I'm not going to spill all the beans on the class, but over the lifetime of the client, they can actually retire with $17 million in an account
Yeah.
and owning at that point a $3.8 million house.
See?
So it's just compound interest. It's just
And
compound
you
interest.
gotta start small.
Got to start small. So 8 pillars of financial freedom. And again, we'll be talking about these mindset. That's why we've gone so in depth the last first couple classes on really mindset. Now we're creating the foundation with the financial plan.
Mm-hmm.
So income and career budgeting, and then savings, credit building, debt management, real estate and home ownership, and investing and building wealth. So these are really the foundational parts of a good financial plan. So as we start to go forward, um, really making the steps of a financial plan, we need to first check our money mindset. So what is our money mindset? And um, what are we, sorry here, I'm kind of moving a few things around on my screen. My screen got all messed up here.
Well,
This
one
is,
thing that I wanted to touch on too is when you have the people nowadays, they are very much just like your Starbucks lady. They want it now. They want immediate gratification right now. So when you are wanting to buy something, you really have to think about, do I want it or do I need it?
yep,
So when you make that differentiation, that balance, you're able to think about, well, if it's a want, then maybe I don't need it now and I can wait and get it later. Save
exactly.
that money.
Yep, that's person when I was 20 talked a lot about a mentor of mine talked about needs and wants, and you're exactly correct on that. Um, really differentiating between a need and a want, and so and differentiating between experiences that you want to have or need to have, and I think that a lot of times um, I think that when just for me when we're talking about budgeting. Um, and again, we'll talk about this in a future class, but we need to budget for fun things to do too. I mean,
Yes.
and maybe we budget for the Starbucks. I mean, I don't want to be somebody who says you can't get your daily Starbucks, or
Wait,
maybe you're somebody who wants to go to Starbucks 2 or 3 times a day, or goes out to eat, 10 times a week, or for breakfast and lunch. I mean, do what you want, budget it.
budget it exactly. Maybe you can lessen another expense in order to make that happen. It just depends on where your priorities are. Everybody is
Exactly.
different.
Exactly. And then, if you're wanting to buy a house, budget for saving for that house.
Yep.
You're wanting to buy a car, budget for saving for that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, and again, I mean, it's are you ready to make the plan? So it's getting in your money mindset, creating that plan. Are you where you want to be when you check your income and expenses? Uh,
Yeah.
build a budget that protects your decisions.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then you gain confidence with the action over time.
Yeah.
Um, understanding that with your income, that's money coming in, and you've got expenses going out. And so, budgeting for that. And again, budget for fun stuff. Um, I remember in 2008, um, I remember in 2008 that, which was not a fun year in our industry. not a fun year for most. And we um, unfortunately, my wife and I had to declare bankruptcy in 2008. We had our house foreclosed upon in 2008. Um, and so we're living in a house way below our means. Um, and what we ended up budgeting was during our weekends, we wanted to do something fun. And I'll tell you, one of the most fun times, I still remember it like it was yesterday, was taking our cans, our pop cans, our soda cans, and we got our bags, we put them in the car, went to the place to go drop them off and to figure out how much they were worth. Because, of course, here in Oregon, they're 10 cents a can. Put our money in there or put our cans in there. We got the receipt. And we said, okay, whatever we could get from our cans, that's what we would do today. And we love to go to the movies. And so I remember we went to a movie. I don't remember which movie it was, but we went to a movie. And we didn't have enough money for soda and popcorn, but we
That's
had
okay.
money to go to the movie. And that was our budget. And so it's just figuring those things out. And again, pivoting and realizing that things change and you just plan accordingly. So
And it's also planning for the rainy days, right? So you're when things are good, put money aside because when things are bad, then you're going to be grateful that you have that money aside.
that's exactly correct. Um, you
And
you stole my thunder on that one. We'll talk about that in a minute, but go ahead. What were you going to say?
well, and it's I don't want people to shoot themselves in the foot either by saying, "Oh, it's not going to happen to me." Well, you never say never. You just
Yep,
never know. So might as well be prepared.
exactly. And that's where, as you're creating this budget, as you're looking at things, you want to look at income and expenses, and then you look at
Hmm.
savings. Um, one thing that we look at is a budget is a recipe for how you use your money. And so it helps us understand what money's coming in, income, what money's going out, expenses, and then what's left over for our savings.
Hmm.
First, as we're going through and setting up a budget, we list all the money that we earn and then we add that up.
Yep.
We then go through and then list all the money that we spend. And don't forget the Netflix accounts and the Hulu accounts. And, even though it's $5.99,
That's up.
I'll tell you one that pops up for me that I'm always like, what is this? It's my Apple account that charges me 99 cents a month for my cloud storage.
Really?
So
Wow.
it's 99 cents a month. And so, I get this Apple bill that comes off my credit card every month. And I'm like, what is this? I always forget it, but budget those things.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, you have to. And also remember that the expenses, even though uh, if you're a W-2 employee, sometimes your income coming in is going to be the same on a monthly basis. However, your expenses are going to be going up and down because your water bill is going to be different.
no,
Your the internet should be the same, but your power bill is going to be different. So you have to adjust. Maybe your gas bill is going to be different in the winter versus the summer. So you have to take that into consideration as well.
great point. Love that. So one thing that we look at, and you can budget however you wish, but um, out in the budgeting world, one thing that really works for most people is a 50-30-20 rule.
Hmm.
And we talk about we budget 50% for our needs, 30% for our wants, and then 20% for our savings goals. And in that savings goals, that 20% can be money that is pre-tax dollars, post-tax dollars, however you want to do it. It can be in your 401k. One thing that we talk to clients about is maxing out your 401k with your company employer. So you can actually get a raise from them in the fact that they then in turn kick in some money towards your 401k as well. That's where a lot of people forget about savings and 401ks, and they just let that money not even exist. I'm
Yeah.
talking specifically about the company matching money. So, that's one area. And then maybe you invest in a 401k company matching, but then maybe you do, 529 savings plan, which is a college savings plan for your kids, or you invest in other areas. Again, you want to look at some pre-tax and some post-tax dollar investments. But again, 50% for needs, 30% for wants. And one thing that we look at when we're working with clients is we really have a four-step process when we're working with clients, and that is the first step and the first stage that we really want to help clients get to is to have 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in their account.
Yep.
Step one. Step two is that they're debt free, minus a mortgage debt and minus auto loan debt. Otherwise, they're debt free from everything else. And so we want to help our clients get to that level at stage two. Stage three is that compound interest, and it's being able to have an account that has enough money in it to be able to physically write a check and pay your mortgage off.
Yep.
And so it's creating significant liquidity. Stage three is significant liquidity. That normally takes around 20 years for most of our clients. And then stage four is now you're debt free. You're completely debt free because you can write a check and pay your mortgage off. You can write a check and pay any auto loans off. You can do those things. But the question is do you? And does it make sense? Now you're using the help of a CPA and a financial planner to figure those things out. Does it make sense to hold my mortgage for a little while longer or not? But those are really the four stages that we help our clients with and want to get to as quickly as we possibly can with our clients.
Yeah.
As we run through, let's talk about a recent purchase. So, um, trying to think here, share a recent financial decision and why you made it, a recent purchase that I want to share. How does this decision fit into your larger financial plan? What lessons did you learn from making this decision? So I will say that this wasn't a purchase for me, and I don't know if you want to share anything or not, but this wasn't a purchase for me, but I have a friend of mine that over the last year, he's actually my best friend. He's been a very, very good friend of mine for years. And so over the last year, we've been talking a lot, and he sent me a link to an Ironman competition. Now,
Wow.
he's not in like super awesome shape. He's in pretty good shape, but he's not in super awesome shape. He rides a bike, a road bike, a good amount. He's on his Peloton a ton. He doesn't swim a whole lot, but he does do some running. And so, he's trying to help me get my mind off some things and whatnot and over last year. And so he's like, well, we need to do this Ironman. And it's in 2026. So he gave me a good amount of time, and you can tell I'm in awesome shape. I mean, so no, I need to work on that. But as he and I were talking, I said, on the biking stage, I've got a mountain bike, so I can, and he's like, no, you can't train with a mountain bike. You have to train with a road bike.
Oh,
And I was like, well, road bikes can be pretty expensive.
yeah.
And so, and I said, I really don't want to be buying a road bike right now. And, and this wasn't a recent purchase because the purchase wasn't in my budget and I didn't have the money to buy a road bike right now. But my friend was like, hey, I've got an extra road bike, you know, it's one that I started with. I've ridden a lot of miles on it. It's a great road bike. And he just gave it to me. And he's like, as long as you're going to use it, and so that was some area where I think you can be very creative in your budget as well, and look for other ways to be able to gain the things that you're looking for. So I think for
For
me,
sure.
that was a recent purchase that, so now I've got it and it needs to be tuned up and new tires and different things, but that's a drop in the bucket compared to, I was at the bike store and looking at bikes, and I mean, you're talking the average road bike, a decent road bike is at least $1,000, if not 2,000. Uh,
Geez,
and they had one there that was on sale for 8,000, normally 13,000.
at that price, I'm sorry, it needs to have a motor.
Exactly. Exactly. Um, so as we go through, so really setting financial goals, um, anytime that I'm coaching, so I've coached a lot of loan officers and realtors on business. Um, I really haven't done this as well with clients, um, but anytime that I'm coaching anybody, I always talk about, sit back and
Mhm.
look at what you want your business to look like. Who's your,
Or in your life too.
and that's where I think this is perfect for your life as well. It's really sitting back and closing your eyes and just really looking at what do you want your life to look like today?
Hmm.
Um, what do you want your life to look like when you're 80? And so how do you want to retire? Because that's going to tell you, do I have two Starbucks a day or maybe two a week? And so,
So we coach our agents over here as well, and we start with the why. So the theory behind that is why are you wanting to do this? Why are you wanting to save money? What is your long-term goal? Your why is very important. And then we break it down. You want this. So let's say you are 80 years old and you don't have any children to take care of you, right? The expectations are you have children to take care of you when you get older. Well, what if you don't have that? So you want to retire and be an old decrepit person and you're all by yourself. You want to make sure that you are taken care of. So what is that number going to look like? So what do you need to do um, in the next decade in order to make that happen? What do you need to do this year? What do you need to do this month, this week, today?
yeah,
It's a ripple
exactly.
effect.
Oh, it totally is. So first, dream about what do you want about, what do you want in your future? Uh,
Hmm.
and then start to create that plan that takes you there. So, of course, setting aside monthly, no matter how small, a good rule of thumb is 20% of what you earn. But even if it's $10, it's
Yeah, who cares? Nobody knows.
starting small.
Just
It's
do it.
and then if you can find the savings accounts that, I mean, that's huge. A bank is giving you 5% interest,
5%, yes.
that's in your savings account. I mean, that's a big thing. So, look for those things as well. Remember our first class Money Matters, where we talked about savings accounts. And if you can find those accounts that are paying higher yields, Capital One has one, your bank has one. Look for those higher yield accounts where you can gain a little bit more money. Uh,
Mm,
you know, I I also manage a nonprofit. Not only am I involved in First Home IQ as a nonprofit, but and I'm an ambassador for them, but I actually lead a nonprofit um, that we do. It's called Believe in Your Community, and that nonprofit we have a good amount of money that's in our account. One thing our CPA does is he knows of this account that's a swap account. And
mhm.
so he takes the money out of our account every day, moves it into the swap account. It sits there at night, collects massive interest, and then comes back. So that's something you can do on a business side when you have a decent amount of money. But it's looking at, finding out from the experts what you can do, um, and how you can start to gain. I mean, just in interest alone this year, and just last month we made $400 in interest.
See,
Um, so, it's those little things that you can do, um, but it all has to start, just smaller level. So whatever you can do.
and
Uh,
wait.
Tips to saving money, make it a habit, pay yourself first. That's what the
And you can
wealthy.
make that a recurring expense. You can set it up with your bank account on your online access to every week. Make a transfer of $5 so that you don't have to even think about it.
Yep, exactly. And again, use high yield interest accounts. And so think about your financial goals. What are some things that you want to save for? Just ponder about that. And then how might creating a financial plan help you reach these goals? So you just ponder about those things, about um, where you want to go and then how you want to get there. And whether it's you want to buy that new car, or whether it's, you want to buy that road bike,
Mhm.
and whatever it is, then you just start to budget and save for that. So the other thing is creating an emergency account. And the reason why we teach our clients to save 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses is so then that way that is their emergency fund.
Yep,
Um, and if you're a homeowner and if your water heater goes out, then you don't have to use your credit card to pay for that expense. You just take it out of your 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses.
for sure. And then
So,
replenish it. If you
yep,
use some of that money, it's okay as long as you put it back.
exactly, exactly. And I find that um, there's been times in my life when I've lived with, a larger, living expense emergency fund, and I live differently when I have money in the savings, than the times that I don't.
You
I
sleep better, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, you feel much more confident. When you don't have the money in there, it's more of a scarcity thing.
It sure is.
So yeah, and it helps to relieve stress. So it's all a good thing, very good thing. And again, getting started with savings, um, investing when you put your money in things like stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Um, there's so many different areas where you can invest these days. And your money's going to grow faster when you're investing in these types of things. Um, one money trick that I heard from a mentor of mine was this: is that when you're investing, if you're investing in the stock market, or something like that, invest in the companies that you know and that you use. Because if you use and if you know these companies, then chances are other people know and use these companies as well.
That's a good point.
So companies that we invest in are going to be companies like Apple, because
Hmm.
I have an Apple phone. My wife and family have Apple phones. My wife has a Macintosh, and so, an Apple. I have an IBM, so, Microsoft, um, Walmart. Of course, you can't get away from Amazon, so you can invest in Amazon, but really just choose like 4 to 5 different companies that you currently use. I like Ford. I mean, at the time I drove a Ford truck, and so we invested in Ford, um, and so it's always things like that you invest in things that you use, and that. Have you heard of any good investing principles that have worked for you?
I really don't know anything about stocks. It's very complicated for me, those numbers and charts, and I'm a numbers person, but I put money into my IRA and I'll let them do their thing.
Yep. And that's the perfect thing to do. I mean, you know, and also, I mean, um, I don't know for you, but I mean, we're both in real estate, and so I invest in real estate.
Hmm.
Um, the office that we're in, I own the office that we're in. Um, and so if I've got to pay rent, might as well pay rent to myself, right?
Right, exactly.
So, but it's investing in the things that you know. Um, but if you don't know, then let the experts do it. And that's where like mutual funds are great to invest in because it's a bunch of different stocks, it's a bunch of different funds out there. And if one area is going down, then the other area is going up, and and you have a tendency to weather a lot of storms that way.
For sure. Hmm.
So there are two different types of investments. Of course, there's the 401k and then an individual retirement account, the IRA.
Yep.
Um, and maybe what we do is when we get through the 10 course series, maybe we have a financial planner on and we'll actually um, talk a little bit more in depth on these with
That
a
would be amazing. Yes.
so yeah, so the first thing is of course starting the plan for retirement early. I've done classes before where I've talked about investing at an early age, from 18 until you're 30, and then stop investing when you're 30, and then go start investing when you're 30 until you're 65. And the actual reality is that you're going to make more money if you invested between 20 and 30 or 18 and 30 than
I
you
believe it.
30 to 65. So it's that compound money compound. So
Sure is.
um, sorry here. So here you've got, a Roth IRA. If you start at the age of 25, $100 a month. By the age of 65 with compound interest, you'll have $257,000, which is
It's
great.
huge.
So um, make a plan for home ownership as well. And there you're talking about it builds equity. There's a massive tax benefit to owning a home.
Hmm.
It's stability, and we've really seen that as it acts as a hedge against inflation. As we've seen over the last couple of years, rents go through the roof, where your house payment still stays the same.
Yeah.
So it's fixed costs like you talked about. Now you do have your taxes and your insurance that go up every year, but really the mortgage is a fixed cost. Um,
But also for the tax benefits, though, I'm a huge advocate about what you do to your home. It depends on what it is a tax deduction. So your CPA or any CPA, they stay up to date on what those are. So definitely refer to them on a yearly basis or even on the some 6 months, every 6 months to know if there were any new tax benefits.
yep, exactly. Appreciation, and then of course long-term savings.
Hmm.
Over the long term, it's cheaper than renting. I did an analogy for a client not too long ago, and over a 5-year period, they paid $172,000 in rent.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so it's just massive. So the wealth gap, there's a wealth gap between renters and owners, and you can see that, as you pay rent, that that rent doesn't go anywhere. Of course, as you end up becoming a homeowner, that appreciation grows and your equity grows over time.
Your house is technically a big savings account. Of course, you have to keep up with the maintenance so that it's an investment, right? You
Yep,
want to take care of that investment. So keep it, make it look good constantly because in the long run, it will pay off.
exactly. So creating financial safety, as we're in that section of the plan, there's two critical ways to keep your financial future safe. One is, of course, good credit.
Yep.
You got to keep good credit. So we are going to have a credit class where we talk about how to establish credit and then how to manage credit. So for you that are younger, 14 15, 16 watching this, we're going to talk about how to get your first credit card. And then for you that are 18 and older, we're going to talk about how to manage your credit cards, how to manage your debt. So credit affects your ability to be able to rent or to buy housing, to get a job, all of that. So
Mhm.
any thoughts on credit?
There was something, even to open certain bank accounts, they pull credit, some insurance company to see if you can have a discounted rate on your car insurance and stuff. They pull credit.
They do.
So, and it's a game. Unfortunately, nobody can get away with it, go around it. Just learn it, play it, and you can beat it.
I mean, even, to have a cell phone, your cell phone company pulled your credit.
Yeah,
To start utilities on a house, water, sewer, electric, heat, gas, garbage, they pull your credit. So
yeah.
credit is at the base of everything that we have.
Hmm.
Um, and then number two is to make sure that you have insurance. Um, so, insurance is there to help protect us. There's of course health insurance, renter's insurance, auto insurance, home insurance. You can insure anything, you know,
Hmm.
even, sorry, I don't know if you could hear that, a bunch of ambulances and stuff driving by. So,
Nope.
um, even Tina Turner insured her legs.
Yes.
So you can insure anything you want. So these are really the key elements of a financial plan. Um,
Oh, I know this one.
what's the answer?
3 to 6.
3 to 6. How about number two? Why is it wise to start investing your money early?
To help my money grow for my future.
Exactly. Exactly. So, so just really ponder about what you want for your future. I mean, that's really the basics of the class. Ponder about what you want for your future. If you need some help, one-on-one help on budgeting and helping to kind of envision and that for your financial future, you can reach out to Claire or myself. Um, but you do live differently when you start to budget and plan. Um, so topics covered: the psychology of money, financial planning basics, credit card and debt management. We'll be talking more about rent versus buy strategies. We'll talk more about, and then the path to home ownership as we go forward in our classes. Um, and then if you want to test your your own financial um, IQ. We call it a test, but just if you want to have some fun, take a little quiz and see where you pan in with everybody else. You can go ahead and hit the QR code here. There's a little test on my site. It's a free quiz, and it will tell you how really what your financial um, uh, really IQ is. Again, it's just a fun little quiz. A lot of thought-provoking questions. But you can do that.
Make it a competition. Do it with the whole family and see who has the best score.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. And then whoever wins, um,
Dairy Queen.
they're a queen. So I was thinking they're the ones that could buy the ice cream for the whole family. So thank you so much, Claire. It's always a
You,
pleasure, always fun.
thank you.
And hope that this brings value to you and your clients and everybody that you touch.
And you as well. And we're going to see you on the next class.
See you in the next class. Thank you.